Coming up on CHGO Cubs, presented by Toyota. Happy St. Patrick's Day and happy opening day is finally here. World Series MVP Ben Zobrist going to join the show live. He's telling us how the Cubs are getting ready on the field, off the field, especially mentally, and how you can use those skills in your own life. Ben Zobrist? Yeah, the guy who hit the Dublin in the World Series Game 7. CHGO Cubs next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. It is St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2025. Less than 24 hours away from the Cubs season opener in Tokyo. We made it. We made it. Luke Stuckmeyer, Cody Delmendo with you. Sean O. Anderson running the ones and twos for us today.
What was your
shaking his head because he's actually Irish?
What was your favorite part of the offseason / spring training?
The end of it.
Yeah.
Yes, the end of it was my favorite part today.
Yeah, we finally get to talk about actual results starting at probably 7:30, 8 a.m. tomorrow. Can't wait.
Super excited to have Ben Zobrist joining us a little bit later in the show. We're going to talk a little Cubs baseball. Then Ben will join us. And yes, the only reason I'm not dressed up as a leprechaun is because Ben Zobrist is coming on the show today.
Yeah, Gary in the chat says that you should have dressed up in Stucky Claus again, but that wouldn't have really made that much sense considering the holiday.
Schedule any other day, I'd be in a leprechaun outfit.
Yeah,
but not today. Lucky Stucky has been locked away.
Ben Zobrist would have came in here and been like, "This doesn't."
So Ben, tell me about that Dublin. Tell me about Dublin in Game 7. No, we're going to talk baseball, but also serious stuff that he's working with, in his retirement, his Champion Forward organization that is a nonprofit, does great stuff. And we've got some, pretty big news when he comes on too.
Yeah, no, the OGs, the real diehards know that he came in our office 2 years ago.
Yeah, we've had him on twice.
It was like August or September, and that was for me as a fan, that was probably one of my favorite days of my career. I got to sit next to him for an hour and just talk ball, which was awesome. So he's become a big supporter of CHGO, and happy to have him back on again.
Ron in the live YouTube chat, which is the best way to enjoy the CHGO experience, is to subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube page. Ron says, tell him I love him.
Ron says he loves you.
I don't know if he means me or if he means you.
He's actually probably just talking about you.
Probably Ben Zobrist, I would assume. Evo Wax says Stucky Con. No, it's Lucky Stucky. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, we do want to tell you, first of all, just take care of some business. Right off the gate, we will be up at 5 o'clock in the morning, like all Cubs fans, but we will have a live postgame show. So the chat will be up and running. As soon as the game is over, we'll be here to do a regular, full postgame show tomorrow. And we want to tell you about our St. Patrick's Day merch that is out today. It's a full, look, I'm wearing it now. I get the day drinking shirt on, but there's multiple variations of the merch out there. You're not going to get to wear it for St. Patrick's Day this year, but you can't be too prepared for next year.
Some people will still be celebrating St. Patrick's Day weekend next weekend.
That's right. You might have a shot at that. Yeah. Gary says big 40-man moves come today, and lots of stuff going on. And one other thing that we had, the first games in Japan, the exhibition games leading up to this, the biggest news, I think, is Mookie Betts will not play in these two games.
Yeah. Great. Awesome.
Yeah, for all those people that say, I want to be the best, you got to beat the best. I'm happy that Mookie Betts will not be playing the first two games. Thank you.
When you look at the Dodgers roster, I'll take 2 games without Mookie Betts. Absolutely. We'll go without him for 2 games. So Cubs catch a break in that aspect. So,
he's not feeling well. He must have caught whatever I caught at the end of last week.
It's been
Antibiotics have kicked in though. Feeling better.
It's been going around, as people say.
It
as
has.
You like to say.
Well,
you said that like last week. It's been going around.
For me,
we're talking
it's been
about
going
Steele.
around for like 3 years. But yes, it has been going around. Wife had it, Cody had it, and I was like, I've got no choice. I'm going to catch this. And I did, again. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Mookie Betts. He got sick on the trip, and he is not playing.
Yeah.
So,
on a real note, outside of, you take my Cubs fandom out, I kind of feel bad for him just because it's such a, when's the next time he's going to play in Japan? I mean, I guess it could be next year because Ohtani's on their team and they played there last year.
Yeah.
But I feel like from a player perspective, can't really take these kinds of moments for granted. It's not given that you could be playing in Tokyo again next year, but plays for the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani's on your team. He's probably going to be playing in Japan next year.
I would assume that secretly Shota and Justin Steele are okay that Mookie Betts is not going to play.
Yeah.
They're okay that they're going to take at least one of their superstar bats out of the lineup. How about the fact that PCA was getting PCA chants? I have two takes on this. One, he's electric and everybody sees it. Mm-hmm. Got the stars in the hair. He plays up. The fans see him. They've seen enough of him just from last year that even in Japan, they like him. And also, it's the power of a nickname. Mm-hmm. PCA is easy to say in any language, right? Like, other than trying to say out somebody's full name, PCA is an easy chant. That's probably part of it, but he called it one of the coolest moments of his career so far. Like, being a young player, you go to Japan and the whole stadium's chanting your PCA. I like it.
Shows that the folks in Japan know ball.
They do.
They follow the league.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool. PCA is absolutely one of those guys that if he takes that leap forward in 2025, like we dream about, like we talk about, and we talk about exceeding projections, he is a guy who MLB will absolutely take every highlight he does and tweets it out. Yeah. And opposing fans will get to a point to where they're annoyed by it. And they did the same thing with Javi Baez when he was with the Cubs. PCA is the same guy because he's exciting. He makes the game fun. And saying his name, the nickname or whatever, it's easy. Hell, I even saw little card, piece of paper with just the letters on it.
Yeah.
People holding up. I just think it's fun to have a Cubs player that is being talked about among more than just Cubs fans. How long it's been? It feels like it's been quite a while since something like that. Because Javi Baez was probably the last one I can remember that was talked about amongst the league. And Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo, right? But
on a team with Kyle Tucker, they're chanting PCA.
Well, listen, Kyle Tucker, he's statistically one of the best players in baseball, but he doesn't have flair. His interviews are boring. I don't really care as long as you hit. Hit. You're gonna be respected by the league and and real ball knowers, of course.
This is the boring we're looking for.
But when you talk about exciting and guys that can their clips will quote unquote go viral a lot, PCA is that dude because he's gonna make some crazy catches this year. He's already caused chaos on the base paths in spring training. How many put the line at 1.5? Maybe I should put it at 2.5 little league homers for PCA in 2025 because he did it twice in spring training already. Basically, you know what I mean? It was just once, but I'm just saying he will be part of a lot of highlights. It potentially could be part of a lot of highlights that gets shared out on the internet and people start talking about. And I just feel like for a while there hasn't been a player on the Cubs that does that. Maybe Dansby and Nico defensive highlights. You know?
You have to go back to Javi running the bases.
Yeah, that's what excites me about this topic with PCA. It's just he's being talked about amongst other fans that aren't just Cubs fans, and it feels like a really long time since the last time the Cubs had a guy like that.
Now, assuming we can get the replay that they were using of Dansby at shortstop, if you haven't seen it, go to MLB tweeted it, Marquez tweeted it. It's a new view. It's from behind the shortstop. I don't even understand how they're doing it, to be honest with you. But If that's the technology that's coming for replays in broadcast, I'm all about it because it feels like you're playing shortstop right behind Dansby Swanson. Or it's like you're playing short center in softball and you're watching the shortstop go get a – it was electric.
I personally like it more than, when they show the highlights of, the umpire view.
Oh, I like this way better.
I like this way better than that. I like it more than just even the highlights of the camera to either the left or the right of home plate and a guy hits a homer and there's no broadcast and it's just the guy swinging and hitting the ball for a homer. I think this video game video highlight is so much more. It reels you in and keeps you there. It certainly has kept me there more than any of those other types.
I missed the play live, and I started watching it on Twitter, and I thought, is this AI? Literally, it looks fake.
Yeah.
It looks fake, but it's real. And so, it's the best angle. You wouldn't want to watch the whole game from that perspective, but great plays at shortstop or maybe a double play ball you would like to see. By the way, speaking of double play balls, Gage Tater Workman turned one over the weekend at second base. If he can hit, we know he can play defense at third base, but now we know he can play shortstop and second base too. He can be your utility backup up the middle. He can be your backup at third base. If he can get that bat to play with power, this season could be changed with that. We keep talking about X factors for this team. Mm-hmm. That may be a long shot that he can do it all season, but they identified the guy, and he has had as good a spring as you can possibly have. He's shown his versatility in the field, and he's been really good with the bat as well. So, By the way, I right now want to declare his nickname. We already have PCA. I want GT Dub, Gage Tater Workman. GT Dub.
Okay.
GTW? We have PCA and GTW? Could be.
I honestly just think of Gordon Wittenmeyer.
Same.
I just think of GD Cub.
So you don't like it?
I don't love it.
Tater? I know one thing. We got to start the Tater shirts right now.
His name is Gage.
Gage Tater.
Gage.
Tater. His middle name is Tater.
Yeah.
His real middle name.
Yeah.
GT Dub is what I'm going with. Yeah. People buy the shirt.
Gage Tater Workman. I'm just going to call him Gage Tater Workman all season. I'm not going to call him Gage Workman. It's Gage Tater Workman.
Taters. I'm just going to call him Taters.
Okay.
And I would like us to print a shirt of just a pile of mashed potatoes with some butter and gravy over it. Nothing else. Just a plate. I like Tater.
Okay.
Taters?
Tater bombs, says Gary.
Tater bombs. Mashed taters. Come on, Gary. Leave it to the professionals. Mashed taters. Okay?
I don't know.
Hey,
but I really do think the easiest one is just to say his full name.
Gage Tater Workman?
Gage Tater Workman, yes. Because I think it actually emphasizes it without trying.
What about
it's not like
Tater Workman?
It's not like you're reading out a guy's full name like that all the time, right? So I think Gage Tater Workman.
I wonder if the teammates have started calling him Tates yet. Anyway.
I think they're calling him by his last name, like Works.
Like
that.
I bet they're using Tater. Once they find out about Tater, it's all over for him.
Yeah. They have to know by now.
Do we know if it's a family name?
It is. His grandfather went by Tater. And then his dad wanted
his
to play baseball. And his
grandfather
dad was like, that's a good middle name, Tater.
So his grandfather's name was Tater Workman?
Or his nickname was Tater? Yeah, he went by Tater, apparently.
Interesting. Anyway.
Listen, I
like
Jay Andrews. What's he say here?
He says, Jay Andrews says in the chat, here's to the CHGO boys, bold and true with laughter and loyalty in all that you do. To the sickos, legends who stand tall, may the luck of the Irish forever be with y'all. Cheers to the Cubs.
Cheers. Is that the Irish blessing? Did he just give us an Irish blessing right there?
I think so.
The CHGO Irish blessing.
That or it's a limerick.
We should put that. That should be on a shirt right there. Just beautiful. Joe says, "Don't give out nicknames anymore." And Ron, I'm not even responding to what Ron had to say. If you want to see it, you can go to the live YouTube chat yourself. If you're listening to this,
of all the nicknames you've given out, your Gage Tater Workman
GT
one isn't
Dub?
great. I don't like it.
Oh, man,
I just think it's Gage Tater Workman. That's it.
We got to take a break.
All right. Hey, Ben Zobrist is coming up live on the show in just a bit. We also have some exciting news from our sponsors, Cody.
Bet365. Woo! Bet365 is live in Illinois, my friends. We have a code for you to remember. Code CHGO 365. CHGO 365 when you sign up, when you download Bet365. And on top of the new customer offer, they've got a boost on the tournament that starts this week. You do not want to miss. They've boosted 1 point to be scored in the first game of the tournament on Thursday to plus 100. Yep, you heard that right. 1 point to be scored, boosted to plus 100.
Cody, 1 point?
1 point, Sean.
By any team?
Any team.
That seems very doable.
Absolutely.
I will be signing up for that.
Absolutely.
That's free money.
You absolutely should. It's literally free, and it's a max bet of $50. You deposit into Bet365, place it on this super boost, and when 1 point is scored, because it's plus 100, that's even money, you'll win $50.
I think for legality, it's not it's not technically free because you said you have to deposit.
Yeah.
So they still have to score a point.
Not literally
Somebody's
free.
got to score a
If
point.
we were
can
to
have
witness
something crazy go on.
If we were
40 minutes of basketball, scoreless
of
basketball.
no points, yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, so there's for that. They have an MLB early payout offer as well with Bet365 early payout offers. You're a winner if your team goes 5 runs ahead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners as well. Download the app and use code CHGO365 when you sign up. So that's similar. That's like if the Cubs have a 5-0 lead in the 5th inning and say they blow it, you're still going to win the bet. I really hope we don't have to witness that at all this year. But you just win early when you're 5 runs ahead. No matter what. If they blow the game, you'll still win the bet. So the other promo they have, all right, at Bet365, new customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose.
I'll be doing that as well.
I already did it last night, all right? Sign up and use code CHGO365, just deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus or older. You just need to be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be assessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. That last part was not great, but I killed it on the first read.
You really did. Yeah.
Let's go.
Welcome aboard, Bet365. Very excited. Hey, who's thirsty here, huh? Head to Hooters for $6 cocktails all day, every day here in March. Enjoy an Absolute, maybe a Bacardi, single mix cocktail for just $6 every day at Hooters. Or try Hooters' legendary margarita. So sweet, so tasty, so cheap. Yeah, you guessed it. Just $6 all day, every day. At Hooters, originality isn't just one thing, it's everything. Hooters is always original. Give me a bunch of those honey Thai wings or the honey barbecue for the first weekend of the tournament. All day. Often imitated, never duplicated. The original Hooters has been one of a kind since, Sean, 1983. Thank you. Cheer on your favorite teams from any of their Chicagoland locations. They have 11 of them. Aurora, Countryside, Downers Grove, Schaumburg, Orland Park, O'Hare, you name it, even Wells Street downtown. You can even order online for pickup and delivery. Check them out at originalhooters.com. All right, so Bet365, we just mentioned them, right? We thought this would be a good day with the season starting
tomorrow
in just hours, right? We'll be up at the break of dawn. We should do some over-unders. We're going to do our full season preview show in the break when they go back to Arizona because we're going to have some time to do stuff there. But just to get some of our over-under picks out there that are on Bet365, right?
Yeah, and I also think saving that for next week, we'll have a better idea what the opening day roster will look like, even though we know the roster will change many times throughout the season. They don't even technically have to be cut down to a 26-man today. So, anyway. I just wanted to point that out there.
Very nice. So right now, Bet365 has some, like, if you're going by like what Pacoda thinks the Cubs is projecting the Cubs will win, This seems like an easy one. Team wins. 86.5. 86.5. Is there anybody in their right mind taking the under here?
The real pessimist.
Right, I'm taking the over for sure. By the way, if you don't know this, this is what I'm breaking out for this year, right here. This is the reality spray that if I have to use it on Cody, I've threatened this for 3 years. Now, season 4, got it here. CHGO reality spray.
Tomorrow,
he gets a little out of line.
Tomorrow,
spray him a little reality spray just to keep him.
Yeah, and
I'm not doing it now because,
right.
Well, I don't want to short out the microphone before Ben Zobrist joins us. Tomorrow post game.
Sean really wants you to do it.
Say something delusional.
PCA is hitting 75 homers this year.
See? Perfect. It works.
Now
He just was like, all right, I take it back. It works perfectly. Let me just.
No.
It was like what
everyone's in the chat right now. PCA's hitting 75 homers, 125 stolen bases. Let's go.
Listen, I can't spray the chat.
Yeah. Well, even though they
consider
need
yourself
sometimes.
sprayed.
Anyway.
Reality spray.
Is this show live?
Are we live?
We are live.
Barb should get sprayed every time she asks that.
Or she brings up Jackson Ferris.
Oh, you said it. There's $1.
Gotta add it to the swear jar. Well, I'm gonna show up with a spray bottle tomorrow that says, what did I say on the couch? Pessimistic. You're too much pessimism. Too much pessimism.
Yes.
Too much pessimism. Anyway.
Pessimist potion.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you're not really the copywriter here.
No.
You really didn't have the snippy.
The bottle's
title.
out there. Reality spray is in the bottle. And this is blue. I purposely bought it at the store and made sure it was blue so that I don't want Big Dave trying to use this on Peck. He's already thrown the hat. We have our own spray. It's only good on baseball.
Okay. I do like this new bit though. I do like it. So.
Well, you know what? We should be in the over-under right now at Bet365 should be how long before I have to use the reality spray on Cody. 1 inning tomorrow, sitting there on the couch. Will it be 5:15 a.m. or later?
It'll
be in the first game. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. You know.
Anyways, I'm taking the 86.5. I think that's an
I already
easy win.
I took the over as well. Picota, we talked about it last week a little bit. Up to 91.5 on their season projection. I know Fangraphs, I think, is around 84, 85. So it's like all over the place with a lot of the projection systems. Again, they're computers. They don't really know. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. I don't know. But I really do like to, believe in Picota specifically this year because it fits my narrative. So, yeah, give me the over.
Kyle Tucker home runs, 28.5.
28.5 for Kyle Tucker.
Oh.
Anyone else think that's a low?
I do feel like it's low. As long as he's healthy, I think it's drastically low. I'm not saying he's going to hit 40.
Was what he hit like 23 last year. Hit 23 last year in 80 games, 78 games. But is a new ballpark.
Keep the spray in the table. I think we're over on the first 2.
But then still, 2021, 140, 30 home runs, 150 games, 30 home runs, 157, 29 home runs.
It's going over.
So he's been around there.
It's over.
When was the last left-handed hitter for the Cubs that hit 30 bombs?
Left-handed hitter to hit 30?
Yeah.
Rizzo got to 30, didn't he?
Was it Rizzo? Or Schwarber? Schwarber hit 30 plus, yeah. Because we know the last left-handed hitter to hit 40 was Billy Williams.
Yeah. It's been a while.
So 30,
What do you got for us, Sean?
Schwarber hit 38 in 2019.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds right.
But, it's been a gap. How about Tucker's RBI at 90.5? That's a little bit harder to predict.
Yeah.
You got to have guys on base, first of all, and you got to be up in the right situation. It's not as cut and dry as making a wager on over-under for home runs. Mm-hmm. But, what the heck? Let's go 3 for 3 and call it the over.
Well, I do think he's, based off how Craig Counsell has done the lineup so far this year, Tucker's been hitting either second or third. And with Seiya Suzuki either in front or behind him in the lineup, I think that will help him. And it certainly could help Seiya Suzuki increase his RBI total, which we'll talk about. But, I mean, Sean, what was his last few years in that RBI total with Houston?
Yeah, this one sounds like it would probably go over. 2021, 140 games, 92 RBIs. That's an over. 2022, 150 games, 107 RBIs. That's an over. 2023, 157 games, 112 RBIs. That's the over. Only one he didn't. 2024, 78 games, 49 RBIs.
So
it's only injury that's changing these bets.
Yeah, I really do think injury, and you can say that about a lot of these future bets, but yeah, I mean, I feel like Kyle Tucker overs are the play.
Well, and even then, too, like, shout out to Godfather. He's always in here hanging out. I think he says Tucker's hitting 36 home runs, but is only driving in 86 RBIs. Like, the Cubs have a massive problem if he's only driving in 86 home runs or 86 runs off of 36 homers.
He's hitting a lot of solo bombs.
And just like no doubles that drive in runs.
Yeah.
Like he's like a 30-30 guy when it comes to doubles and homers.
Yeah.
How about Seiya, who will have a lot of eyes on him, obviously, in these first two games? By all accounts from Twitter, he's having a great time showing off his country to his teammates. They have the Bet 365 has the over-under for home run at 19.5. It feels like they're giving you money here, too.
Yeah.
I love this.
Seiya's hit 20-plus homers each of the last 2 years. And
he's had it even with injuries.
And now he has one of the top 20 players in baseball, either in front or behind him, which should help him. Of all of the ones that's on the list that we're showing on YouTube, this is the one I love the most. Seiya to hit 20 home runs this year. I mean, I
agree. It's the easiest one to get.
I don't know if it's necessarily the easiest. I just feel like it's the one that feels like the most likely. Just
because he's done lucky
it
Stucky lock of the day.
It's what's happened the last 2 years, and I think perhaps the only way this doesn't happen is, again, injury.
Right.
Or if he regresses. I just don't feel like he's going to regress. So I so far, I feel great about taking the over on all of these. And I know I'm like the fan here,
right? Do I need to get out the spray?
Like, well, you like them too. Should I spray you?
No,
too?
That's what I'm saying. Leave the spray down.
You should put the reality spray in the middle. I'll spray you.
No. This is a one-way street.
Oh, okay.
Seiya Suzuki homers at 75.5. I'm still going. We're going over on all of these. This is another one that's a little bit harder than the home runs for both of me. I think the team win total should be right. I would say the 2 home runs are the easiest plays.
Yeah. RBIs are it can be weird, right? Like,
dependent on a lot of things. Even wins can be derailed by so many things throughout a season.
Like, let's use Chris Bryant as an example. I think Chris Bryant only went over 100 RBIs once with the Cubs. But
MVP.
I think that would surprise a lot of people. Sean, if you want to look that up, but
don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, Sean.
It's like there's a lot of great players who are not driving in over 100 runs. Like, I think Mike Trout could be a really good example of this too.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so it's one of those things that it really is dependent on other guys getting on base.
Bryant had 2 years. I mean, 2015, 99 RBIs, so close. 102 in 2016, then 73, 52, 77, and then gone. Well, I mean, then 2020, 34 games, 11 RBIs, and then gone.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that you look at a guy like Seiya. This one's tough for me. I really don't know, just because it's so very dependent on other guys being on base.
If I was going to skip one of these over-unders, this would be the one I would skip.
Yeah.
Of the ones that we're putting up on the screen. And the next one is PCA steals at 29.5. I'm going way over. I saw Godfather thinks 74.
Wow. Should we get the reality spray for Godfather?
He's thinking Ricky type numbers.
I think get it for Luke.
Why? You don't think I should go over?
I think you're going to go over, but I also feel like you're more in the Godfather camp than...
I'm not 74. What? I'm not going that high.
What he had close to 30 last year when he didn't hit for 2.5 months, and he didn't start the year with the team. So you're looking for him to hit like he has in the spring or anywhere close to a league average level for an entire year. He could easily go over this. And the amount of singles he'll get on infield hits.
All right, one more real quick. Shota Imanaga, 165 and a half strikeouts. Lucky or Stucky's feeling lucky we're going over again.
If I'm going to take the under just to have an under on one of them.
Oh.
Because
make me look a little delusional.
I bet his strikeout total last year, and it was at 150. And it cashed in early September. Now it's all the way up to 165 and a half. And I'm unfortunately expecting some negative regression. I hope I'm wrong about it.
Just to check in, Cody took the over on 6 of 7. You took the over on 7 of 7.
6 of 6. I said if I was going to hold out, it would be on this, just, improve the batting average a little bit.
If Shota gets 170 strikeouts this season, then he has certainly took everything I've said about him personally. And I haven't even really been slandering. I'm concerned about, not being as good as last year.
Cubs hero, Cubs legend, overall just a great guy. Ben Zobrist is going to be joining us in just a few minutes on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. Some of the amazing features that make the brand awesome, Luke. They are a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly created menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup, which I know someone like you, Luke, really enjoys because I know how much you struggle with using the internet. So if you just have that
That's a shot. That's an unnecessary shot, but go ahead, continue with the read.
The easy online ordering is something that you absolutely enjoy, all right? I know this, and because I know you, all right? They're Illinois' favorite dispensary with locations all over the city in Wrigleyville and River North to the suburbs, all the way to Champaign and South Beloit if you're going towards Wisconsin and more. So if you're starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands that they know you'll love, like Good News and Mindy's. If you're a pro, they've got you covered with over 100 strains on the menu and new ones added daily, all right? We know you'll love Cresco and Florical's incredible quality and consistent products as well. So visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. 50% off, Luke.
50.
All you got to do is use code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
One of the reasons I love baseball is because winter is finally over when it gets here. And our winters can be brutal in Chicago, but Toyota helps make it easier. Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. They have more than any other auto brand out there. One day it's 75 here, the next day it's snowing. You've got to stay prepared. From the sleek Camry all-wheel drive to the Corolla hybrid all-wheel drive. How about the Toyota Tundra, a truck that's known for its power, durability, and off-road capabilities. Perfect for our Chicago winters and springs, by the way. Heading to the big game, remember you're heading out on spring break. The spacious Grand Highlander is the perfect ride with all-wheel drive to keep you and yours safe. Did I mention more than any other auto brand out there? So you bring the action. Toyota's going to bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Perfect time, by the way, to become a CHGO diehard right before opening day. Don't miss out on anything this season. Get in, ground floor. Listen, we like bandwagon fans, but we like the diehards and sickos even more.
Especially the sickos.
Especially the sickos. So sign up to be a CHGO diehard today. Get access to our exclusive written content, a free T-shirt. Maybe you want one of the St. Patty's Days that I got on today. Plenty of discounts on future merch and events. By the way, we have some baseball ones coming out for opening day too. Plus access to our CHGO Discord lounge where we all hang out and talk Chicago sports and so much more. So go to allchgo.com for the latest information on how you can join thousands of CHGO diehards in our community. We're over 3,000 now, right? Yeah, we reached over 3,000 last week. We can't wait to connect with you on an even greater level. That's right. Shane Newbanks is a sicko.
He definitely is.
A lot of sickos out there. And you know what? I'm thinking we probably will be jumping in. If you're just joining the podcast or the show right now and you missed the very beginning of the show, yes, Ben Zobrist will be coming up. But yes, tomorrow starts it. Live post-game shows. We will be here early in the morning watching that Cubs baseball game. Live 1 hour post-game show. Cody and I will be here. But also, we'll be in and out of the Discord during the game. Chatting. You can check out our Twitter and all those other things. But occasionally we'll jump in the Discord, right? Good spot to do that.
Absolutely. And all throughout the offseason, mostly for the last couple months, I've been in the Discord usually at some point during the day, and I'll be doing the same thing during the season as well, just into the voice chat, letting everyone kind of air their grievances and talk about whoever's playing well or who's not playing well and why PCA has not hit on my 75 homer mark that I'm hoping for, and a lot more delusion that I obviously have.
Cody's going to have to wear like a rain slicker or a poncho, a Cubs poncho. On days we should keep a poncho for days where you're going to just get out of control.
They win 16-0. I'm just come on here and just come in firing.
I'll be over with I'll turn this to heavy stream instead of just the spray. And Cody will be like the guy that's sitting in the bleachers when it's 37 and raining out there and just spray him up.
While we're waiting for Ben, I think we can continue our little over-under here with what Godfather says in the
what's
chat.
he asking about?
He says, let's play. When will they blow the first save? Before or
Godfather.
after they leave Japan?
We're feeling lucky on St. Patrick's Day. Can we just have one day?
We always
save it for tomorrow's first loss. I'm kidding.
I feel like we ask this every opening day from Godfather. Like, at least give us this day, okay? But I will say that the first blown save will come at some point in April.
No, I think they could make it the first full week.
The first 2 days?
Not including these 2 days, like the 2 days, and then when they really start.
Well, he's asking before they leave Japan. And I'm saying that I think they'll make it through Japan without doing that. But
how about the breakout game, by the way?
Yes.
Some guys doing pretty well. Cade Horton looked good.
Kevin Alcantara with another homer in the spring. Also, and this time the homer he hit, he actually pulled it to left field. So, and I know he's been getting a lot of talk about his opposite field power a lot in the spring too. So Kevin Alcantara is certainly putting his name out there. And all I know is that when you let Travis Jankowski go, I think that says a lot about how they feel like they could just insert Alcantara at any point if there is an injury. I don't think he'll come up just because he's playing well. I think he's more likely to be on the team if there's an injury. But, man, is that a really good player or a really good player with a lot of potential to insert in there if, one of those three guys in your outfield get hurt. I'm really excited to see what he can do. And of any prospect for the Cubs this spring that's like kind of opened my eyes a little bit more, because I already loved him as a prospect, but like even more now, it's been him. Like he just kind of, you want to talk about high ceilings and star potential in this farm system. A lot of people have, the last handful of years in our chat and stuff have talked about, the Cubs don't have a star in their prospect pool and stuff. And I've always thought that Alcantara was the one who had the most star potential. So,
well, he's just so athletic.
Yeah. But I also feel like at the same time that he might have the lowest floor. So it's all about like
hit or miss.
Yeah, like that's how I feel, and that's what makes me a little uneasy about him. But he's definitely showed out this spring, and it's exciting, and excited to see what he does in Iowa to start the year. But another homer the other day, and I think Triantos and Ballesteros also had 2 hits. So.
Yeah, and I see Ron saying coming this July, Cubs trade Kevin Alcantara for Sandy.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see.
That's the kind of talent you're going to have to move to get a guy like Alcantara. Trade an Alcantara for another Alcantara. Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't be as excited as I am realistically, and you're not getting the spray for this, but I know I shouldn't be as excited about Gage Workman, but somehow something keeps telling me that they may have found a diamond in the rough. I'm not saying a superstar player, but a guy that could be really, really valuable.
Yeah. No,
I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I have a feeling.
Yeah, I feel like Gage Tater Workman.
You make the shirt GTW, and the
Ugh.
W is the fly the W, Cubs
Okay.
W, see?
Yeah, maybe, but I just don't know if anyone
I'm already
will,
designing
like,
our shirts.
I don't know. I'd have to see it.
Okay.
But I'll say this, and I thought Brendan had a really good point about it on Friday's podcast with Corey, that he is significantly different than any of the other, like, kind of flyers they've taken on these
Yeah.
infield. Like, he's no Eric
Yeah.
Sogard. Brendan even said that himself. There's no Eric Sogard. There's no Jonathan VR. There's no Andrew Elton Simmons. Like, this is not what Gage Workman is. This guy can field
Oh,
it.
he's a Rule 5 guy.
He can field it. Like, he grades really well, 70 out of 80 on the defense, and he's obviously shown the power. So it's a little bit of a different route of going with for a guy that I don't know where the floor is, but the ceiling is higher than any of those dudes who were like veterans at the time when they brought him in.
Sure.
Too, you know, so I think that's the difference, and that's what makes it a little bit more exciting, at least.
We are very excited. You know, we thought, what day should we do this? How about right before opening day? Oh, it's St. Patrick's Day. We're lucky enough to have a World Series MVP join us on St. Patrick's Day. I don't know if he's ever been called Zobrist or not, but Ben Zobrist, World Series MVP. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. So excited. Of course, Ben, now in retirement, is working with Champion Forward, which is an organization helping teenage athletes, parents, coaches, everybody kind of process, normalize, and manage all the different things that can come with emotional challenges. So we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit. They can be very real. And so Ben's going to talk baseball with us, and he's also going to relate it to regular life, right? Like, not everybody's a major leaguer, so not everybody can use just major league advice, but we like to mix the two a little bit. So what do you think, Ben? How's everything been going good this winter for you?
Fantastic. Yeah, I couldn't ask it to go any better than it has. And I get to hang out with the Cubs occasionally here and there too, again this year. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see my Chicago people, you know. It's been fun.
I've seen you're a lot more active on Instagram these days, on your Instagram story. And we were talking with some of the people within your camp, and they were like, yeah, I have to really push him to do it because he really hates social media. And I'm like, I'm not surprised.
Don't give away his secrets. Don't give away his on day one.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's true. I never have loved social media or any of that. But, you know, it's the world we live in, and it's a way to get the word out about good things that you're doing and try to pass on. You know, we can stay connected in a lot of different places. So it's a good thing in regard to that. And I'm looking forward to, I've been going out and speaking more and trying to get the word out about Champion Forward some more and some of the things that I'm doing away from baseball now. So this will be fun to kind of mix some conversation about baseball, mix some conversation about some other things I'm doing that I'm passionate about too. I
should have mentioned that too, that like the reason that I've been seeing that is because you've been out speaking, which is like, I love to see that because I just hadn't really known what you'd been up to in regards to Champion Forward until we had talked to John a few weeks back. So it's cool to see you're out there and trying to help people in this realm.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I think that things have changed so much in sports, even just in the last 7 years since I've retired, or 6 years since I've retired. So especially in the youth world, the youth realm of sports. And you know, if there's anything that I think professional athletes should feel obligated to do, it's after you're done to make the most of all the great coaching and all the great experiences that we had all the way through to be able to play professionally. There has to be some way to try to give that back, right? I feel almost all professional athletes might need to feel a little obligated because we were just given such a gift, not only athletically, but a gift in coaching, a gift in experiences. And so I just really want to find ways to give that back, find ways to plug in positive ways in the sports world. And certainly the youth sports realm is more challenging than it used to be, especially when those of us that are in our 40s were growing up.
So with the Cubs, Ben, starting this season, 2025, everybody seems excited. Expectations are high. Next year is here used to be the Cubs slogan, or wait till next year. So everybody's excited about this, but did you go into every spring, or as you were leaving spring, did you go through the same feelings like every year as a player, or was there anything different from year to year, whether it was anxiety or any of that stuff that would come with each season?
Well, I definitely think there was always this renewed sense of hope going into spring training. It's a new season. Even if you had a bad year the previous year and you get an opportunity to go to spring training, you're feeling somewhat an amount of hope, because everybody starts at zero, and it's a new change, new challenge wherever you're at, right? So if you start at zero, there's an opportunity then to change people's minds about maybe what you did in the past year. But I also think if things go really well, what we don't often think about is all the expectations then that are mounted, and the pressure then that gets mounted goes a tick higher than it ever was before, because now people know what you're capable of. And now it's like the question isn't, can he? The question is, will he do it again? Right. And can he do more than that? Right. So then there's just the expectations of a year, whether it's self-induced or whether it's team-induced or whether it's city-induced or whatever it is as a major league player. There's always something new to look forward to, but there's also something new to measure up to. And I think that's the challenge that an athlete, a professional athlete, experiences. But it's not just professional athletes. It's anybody that's starting a new opportunity, right? It could be a new job. It could be a new team that a young person is playing on. The onus is on you then to now I need to impress. I got to show people what I'm capable of right away. And I think some of that added pressure at the start of a year can be challenging. I mean, we've kind of seen it with some of the expectation on Matt Shaw early on in camp, with people going, hey, what he's going to be, right? But I think we have to be careful with that as fans and as people that are just watching, saying, hey, yes, somebody may be really capable of doing some amazing things, but at the same time, let's let it play out. Let's not force that upon somebody too early. And you want to believe that amazing things are going to happen, but you also have to be patient and kind of let them happen. That's kind of the challenge of front offices, right? As they see the capability and the potential of young players, they have to make decisions on how much should we test them, how much should we give them as a challenge early in the season or early in spring training, and you want to see how they handle that, right?
Yeah. How do you handle those expectations as a young player like that? And there's so many young players on this team. Some are Rule 5 draft guys. Some are first-round draft picks. How does a young player handle all of the expectations, and not just that, the media spotlight? Like, it's different when you're growing up and you're playing baseball and nobody's really talking about it. But when every single play can be put under a microscope and reanalyzed and overanalyzed, and then you can throw it to social media, and anybody in the world can give their opinion on your one play that you just did. How can somebody handle that? What tools could they use to approach that?
Well, I think one of the things that a lot of sports psychologists teach young players how to do is start to visualize, right? So you want to visualize good things happening, and you want to, no matter what happened last year or what you did, what am I going to visualize for what is going to happen this year? But in doing that, I've never been a fan of visualizing too far in the future. I think you got to stay very, very present and just, what am I capable of? What am I trying to visualize on this particular play, on this particular pitch? I mean, I get that granular with it as when I was playing, because if you think too far of like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, there's so many different decisions that have to be made to get to that. You can't possibly visualize all the things that are going to need to take place for that big goal to happen. So you're better off, in my opinion, thinking about today. What can I do today to become better? What can I do today to visualize something good happening? What can I do today now that this, I made an error in the game or I struck out in the game? What can I do to block that out and visualize something positive for my next at bat? Or my intention just needs to be positive, right? So I was a big fan of thinking, yes, keep in mind that the game is a marathon. It is not a sprint. It's a very, very long season. You play 162 games, and that's after 30 spring training games or whatever it is, right? And then if you make the playoffs, you play another 20 games, hopefully, if you make it all the way through the World Series. So it can be a very, very long season. And you got to keep in mind that, keep it in perspective, today is only one day. But what are we visualizing? We're visualizing success in the next moment. As I'm living this moment, what am I intending to do in the next? And that can be a challenging discipline to grab onto, but that's one of the most powerful disciplines as an athlete can try to ascertain.
You on the topic of Matt Shaw, and I love that you brought him up. I saw that you were out in Arizona at the beginning of Cubs spring training, and when that came around, the news came out that Shaw had this oblique injury, and what serious or not serious, to go with everything that has to do with the mental side of having some sort of expectation to be that starting third baseman on opening day, on top of now dealing with an injury. Were you able to even talk to Matt Shaw yourself and kind of get an outlook on him and how he's doing, or stuff like that? Because I just, as a fan, I agree with everything you're saying. Like, we have to give Matt Shaw like all the patience in his first year. I'm just curious how he's dealing with a lot of this, and I didn't know if maybe you had some insight on that.
Well, I'm smiling slyly because I may, but I'm not going to tell you. That's for sure.
I had to try, Ben. I had to try.
No. The truth is, when I get an opportunity to go in the clubhouse, I consider that to be very sacred and a great opportunity to chat with guys at times. And I don't ever want to make them feel like any of that confidence could ever be betrayed, right? So I think the goal for me in talking to those guys at times is just, how can I offer up my own experiences that might help them at any given point? And it doesn't matter who I'm talking to, whether it's a young guy or an older guy. I only have so many experiences I can draw from, and I'm not going to say that his experiences would ever be the same as mine. So while I can't talk about him or what he's going through, I can talk about, I had an injury in spring training. I was trying to make a team in spring training, and my injury actually led me to, for sure, not being able to make a team because I broke my finger in spring, right? And what that ended up being for me was an automatic AAA start to the season. And then as I got healthy, I broke my thumb. As I got healthy, the good thing about that, no matter where you start, the good thing about it is, if you can say it doesn't matter, if you can tell yourself it doesn't matter where I start, I'm doing the same thing. I'm working the same way. No matter whether people are talking to me about it a lot or not, I'm doing my thing. And so the more an athlete can focus on what they need to be working on every day to get better, that doesn't matter if they are crushing it in spring training, or if they are playing terrible. The goal is the same. None of that matters until you get to the first pitch of the season. First pitch of the season is what matters. So the goal is, hey, if I'm not healthy, I got to just make sure I'm ready for game one. Because game one is when the numbers start really counting, and that's when the wins start really counting, right? So, of course, every player wants to be in the big leagues, helping the big league team win. But at the end of the day, the best way for you to do that is to take care of yourself today. So if you're doing rehab, I'm rehabbing to the best of my ability today. And I'm listening to what the trainers are saying. I'm getting on the right coaching plan and how many swings I can do or how many throws I can make today. What can I do to make sure my body is ready so that when it is go time, you can hit go and boom, you're off and running. That's the goal for a player, no matter what.
I love that because it also applies to challenges for people in regular life, not even just young athletes, right? You get set back in a career move, you just get set back in school somewhere and you take a step back. It's not about comparing yourself to the guy next to you necessarily. It's, if you worry about yourself, things can take care of itself. If you're worried about what the guy who's slightly ahead of you might be doing, now you have yourself a problem because you're getting distracted from what you're actually working on. You mentioned being at camp, and it got me to thinking because we've seen so many former Cubs over the years go back to camp, and I don't really know if it's like that for every franchise. I don't know if every franchise has a slew of former players that show up and want to help the next phase of a franchise's progression, right? But we've seen Rhino go for years, even with everything he's going through off the field. We've seen Fergie want to be there. Billy Williams has been there. Sutcliffe is there. You were there. Sammy Sosa showed up this time. When you were a player, did you ever go to camp or even sitting around the dugout, maybe talking to Ernie Banks or Billy Williams or somebody? Did you ever talk to a former player that had been there and done that before you, that they actually gave you advice that you implemented into what you were doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Most of my advice that I implemented was from my coaches, and all of them were former players, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, they were, whether or not they were known players at the time, their advice was valuable because they had a different look at the game than I had, right? And so, by the time you get to the major leagues, there's something that players have to realize is they are really their own best coach. So you take in information from everybody and you take what you can and plug it into your game. And then you take what you can't and you just set it to the side. Right. And you might hold on to it for later and maybe use it later. But sometimes I only need one thing. And maybe a coach or an ex-player gives you 10 things to think about. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But there's two sides to that, right? You got the front office and the Cubs side, which is like, they want us to come back and be involved with players. And you have to have ownership and front office guys that are like that, see the value to it, to bring guys back in. That's why the Cubs have so many of those guys there in camp, is because the organization values the opinion of the ex-players. And that's one thing, that the way that the Cubs treat you as an ex-player is second to none. I got to believe the way they've treated me since I've been retired is pretty amazing, and makes you want to come back, which is why a lot of those guys come back, I know. But when I sit and talk to them, I sat and talked to Fergie last week a little bit myself when I was there, or 2 weeks ago. And I'm always thinking, man, this guy has experiences that I could never understand. So let me ask some questions and glean as much as I can. These are our baseball sages, right? These are our guys that maybe the game doesn't necessarily have a use for them on the field at that time. But boy, the players and the coaches need to glean as much information as possible, because they have a lot of wisdom to bring into the game. And I mean, I think that's one side of it. And then the player that's coming up, the young player, the guys that are current right now, it's really up to them to ask the right questions. That's what it comes down to, I think. If a player recognizes so-and-so's around, everybody's great in the club. I mean, everybody treats players or ex-players really well. At least they've treated me well. I've seen the way they've treated Rhino and Fergie and the Hawk, and you got Sammy that came back. I didn't get to see Sammy yet, but like those guys, everybody has a lot of respect for them and reveres kind of what they were able to accomplish in this game. But then it still comes down to asking the right questions. So if you're not an inquisitive person, if you're not curious, you're not going to glean the wisdom and the sageness that those people have. And that goes for every sphere and realm of life, right? We should be slowing down our own game enough to be able to recognize and take an opportunity, take a moment to ask a good question to somebody that's been there and done it a little bit differently than you have in the past, because they may be able to offer a new and a different perspective that might help you today.
We have this strange way, but also awesome way of starting the season where they go to Japan and they play in Japan, and then they go back to spring training and they start the season. So we were talking earlier about, a broken finger or an oblique injury or things that come along. You ever have anything that strange that could break up your routine? Because that's about, for athletes, especially baseball players that are just routine driven, how do you let something like that not throw you off track from your normal routine, if it's even possible? Because they're going to go back to spring training.
Well, to be honest, it does throw you off track. And it's actually, as great as it is for fans, mm-hmm. It is a bigger challenge for players, right? And I'm sure they're enjoying the experience in Japan and all that. But it presents a physical challenge, and it also presents a mental challenge, because you're interrupting the normal rhythm that comes with getting your body and your mind and your game ready for spring training. You're starting earlier where games count, and at the same time you are flying throwing off your sleep rhythm and all things by flying all across the world. The only time I had that experience at all, similar to that during spring, was World Baseball Classic in 2013 when I played for Team USA. Because you go from, this is just spring training, getting ready for day one, to like, I show up at spring and I've only got 3 weeks before I'm playing for my country. Like that's a big deal. And to a certain degree, I know some of these guys felt that they needed to be ready sooner than they normally were. So it is a challenge for both the Dodgers and the Cubs to do this. I think the Japanese league players tend to be ready sooner than American players on a regular basis. So it might feel a little bit better to those Japanese-born players that grew up over there and start pretty early. But for a lot of American players, it's tough. It's a challenge. And then you got to come back the last week of spring training and reacclimate, take a little breather, make sure your body's ready to go. And you don't want to push it too hard, right? So at the same time, everybody wants to be hot with the bat and throwing their pitches exactly where they want to be throwing right at day one of when they play the Diamondbacks coming up, right? After this initial Dodgers series. So it's definitely challenging is what I would say. And it's not the easiest way to start a season.
The Cubs traded for Kyle Tucker this offseason. And, I don't care about spring training results, but he's like 1 for 30 this spring. And so my question to you, when you first came to the Cubs, obviously new team coming off winning the World Series with the Royals, how long did it take you to really adjust to a new team, new environment, all that? And how much did that go into you mentally as well?
I would say a lot of those types of things are more of a mental challenge than a physical challenge. I think physically he's doing pretty much the same things, I'm sure, like with his work and I would be surprised, and I haven't talked to him about that, so I don't know, but I would be surprised if he's doing much different than he always has in the past. Sometimes the results just don't show up right away, or you're not in rhythm yet. And if you're not in rhythm and you're also knowing mentally, like, okay, people are watching and I'm the guy that they're looking to do big things. And I think to a certain degree, he never really had that in Houston. It was a little bit easier for him to kind of be an incredible player around other incredible players like Bregman and Altuve and some of these guys that were stalwarts there for a very long time, right? Now he gets a chance to kind of be a headliner in a big city like Chicago, one of the top of the top. And so it's kind of I could see that being a challenge. I don't know that it is for him. There's nothing really to think extra for him. It's just go about your same business, in my opinion, and you keep doing your thing, and all that stuff shows up. You really don't care. To be honest, when you know you're making the team, you do not care how the ball falls. All that matters is my swing feeling good? Am I hitting the ball where I need to hit it, the way that I need to hit it? And if all those are line drive outs, those are going to turn into hits during the season anyway. So I'm sure for him, it's probably more about just getting in a good quality rhythm, hitting the ball hard, doing the same things he's done before to get into that rhythm by game one, right? Game one is the most important one.
Which was more difficult for you to go through from a mental side, being the young player trying to break into the big leagues and not knowing if you were going to be in AAA or at the major league level, being multiple places throughout a season, or being the free agent coming over like Kyle Tucker, where everything's switching. Your family's moving to a different city. You have to worry about kids getting into a different school and getting a house set up. Meanwhile, you're trying to prepare at spring training for a new season and the expectations of that. And oh, by the way, this year there's Japan in the middle of it. Like, for you personally, which one was more difficult?
I would probably say it was more difficult when I was trying to make the team.
Yeah.
And just even though logistics weren't as challenging, logistics are always challenging when you got your family with you and kids stuff and all that, and you're moving into a new house and cities and all that thing. However, as a young player, you got to show up ready to go. That's why it's so impressive kind of what Workman did from the very start, and knowing he's a Rule 5 and he's going to either show something right away or they're going to return him, kind of a thing. And to show up ready to go and do what he's done in spring training is pretty impressive. But it's also a testament to him just going in the offseason going, hey, spring training is the regular season for me. I have to be ready like it's game one of the regular season. When I got to be a veteran player where I knew I was going to be on the team and I had a contract and all that stuff, spring training then becomes a little bit more like baseball paradise. And it's really hard to treat it like the regular season when you know it doesn't really matter for you. You just got to get your body ready for game one. You want your body and your swing and your game and all that stuff ready for game one. So home runs in spring training, you're kind of like, try not to waste too many of them. But then when you're trying to make the team, you're like, yes, like this is it. That's how you show and prove like what you're capable of, right, in those moments. So he's really shown some really cool things early on to the team, I think.
So Kyle Tucker is in baseball paradise right now.
Yeah.
That was my experience. I don't want to put that on him. That was my experience.
The Japan thing, I was also wondering, everybody seems to be having a great time out there, from the broadcasters to the players to the family members that have gone. You see Shota and you see Seiya hosting this big party and everybody's having a good time. And then I heard Craig Counsell talking about how this can be really the start of the season for them, not just the literal sense in this is game one and game two, but this can be the start for this team. 2025, trying to build yourself into a playoff team, trying to build yourself into a division champion. Do you think that's possible for a team to actually bond and build from this experience, or is that just PR stuff that fans and everybody else talks about? Is there something to the camaraderie of being out in another country or any other event like that where you mentioned it, playing for Team USA? Is there anything that you can build from that?
I think there is. Anytime you have to kind of live together, travel together, do all things in another country, different culture together, it does build a level of camaraderie and culture that you can't make happen during spring training, right? So for the guys that will start with this team that are there, will start in Arizona, it's definitely going to help them feel like more of a unit before what's that date? March 28th, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that's where you can the positive to there's a physical challenge, like I said, but the positive to that rhythm being interrupted is you do have to kind of come together a little bit quicker and in a different way than you normally can during the season. Because once you start traveling together, it does change things. You get to know guys in new ways, in different ways that you didn't during spring training. So I'm sure that they're experiencing that together. And then also, I can't imagine what it could be doing for Seiya and Shota, those guys who grew up in that culture and then get a chance to show that culture to their Cubs teammates. And, how tough it must be to go over to the States and just jump in like they've done the last couple years. And it's just it's going to be a powerful thing that brings those guys even more so into the mix and the American guys more so into their world. And that they're two really big key pieces of this team. So I can see it being a very, very positive experience in regard to building team culture.
I'm just so excited for baseball seasons to start. I'm excited to watch PCA and his blue stars and his hair running around the field, the helmet flying off, everything that goes with Cubs baseball. But I think I'm most excited about getting to talk to you like once a month, at least until you're sick of us. That point could come. We understand that, Ben. But to talk about stuff that's real, that could help other people, and that it also is impacting baseball players. You guys have the Champion Forward podcast too, right? With John?
That's right.
How often do you guys update that?
John Harrison and I, we do one every couple weeks. We'll be updating it as time goes on. We just started our second season of doing those podcasts, and we're really focusing on our ambassadors, our ambassador program, the people that have been in our program and have gotten an experience with us doing some of this emotional intelligence type of training for the youth sports world. And that's not just for the young athletes. It's for the parents and the coaches just as much. I mean, we all have our own experiences off the field, not only watching as a fan, but listening or watching our kids as coaches or as parents. And then if you're ever coaching kids, right? And I'm starting to help out with coaching kids a little bit more in my own community in Nashville. So it's definitely challenging me to grow in new ways that I didn't even know I could grow in while I was playing Major League Baseball. So I would encourage anybody that gets a chance to connect with us and be a part of the ambassador program to join up. And we look forward to hearing more testimonies of some people that have done the program that have felt like it's making a difference for them in their experience. So thanks for highlighting that and letting me be a part of this with you guys.
We're not letting you do anything. It's all you, man. Like, I do have one serious question here, and that is, how do I get one of those champion forward lids that you're wearing right now? You know, I see it. Is that a custom made, Ben? Like, what's going on here? Because I'm wearing one right now.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to pass that through the the sources that provide them to me. You know, so
yes, I'm gonna be calling a few people after this.
I'll nab a couple for you guys, and we'll bring them in. I'll drop them off. All right,
let's go.
I'm in on that,
and we'll definitely give you some more CHGO swag too.
So we're hoping to do this like once a month. So we'll see you sometime in April. Yeah, Cody?
I have one more question, and this is more fun.
Hit him with the hard one now.
All right. The NCAA tournament starts this week, and I've seen highlights of you dunking the ball at Eureka back in the day.
What?
I have. Shout out to my guy Jim Matson back in
Was it
Peoria.
AI or was it real?
No, it was real. I've seen it, and Ben probably knows what I'm talking about. But so I guess my question is, who's always been your, like, growing up? What was your team growing that you cheered for in the tournament, or were you a Big Ten fan or anything like that?
I was a Big Ten fan because of being in Illinois, University of Illinois, but I also grew up watching Bradley, which was in Peoria, nearby Eureka. So Bradley's in the NIT. I've got one of my cousins is on the team at Bradley, so I'll be watching a little bit of the NIT a little bit. But this year, I mean, honestly, just like everybody else, I'm interested in watching Cooper Flagg and see what he does in the tournament. So I'm looking forward to watching the Duke games this year.
Talk about pressure. Right. There's pressure on somebody right there.
Yeah.
Ben Zobrist, thanks as always, man. Championforward.org, correct? If anybody wants to find out more information.
That's right. And you can follow us on Instagram as well, which, I love social media.
That's right. It's Ben running the account. It's not just somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Ben himself. All right. Thanks, Ben. Have a great rest of the week. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and we'll see you after opening day.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Ben Zobrist, man. Is there a better guy coming out of baseball? Like, the Cubs are so lucky to have so many guys that were legends in their franchise be down-to-earth, spectacular people that relate to everybody.
I know.
Right? Like, just take Rhino and Ben Zobrist alone. Some franchises don't have that.
You're right. Yeah, he's it's not only because he gets to come on our show and stuff like that, but he has very fastly become my favorite player from the 2016 core. And it's largely just because we've gotten to know him on the show, and he's very genuine, and I appreciate that.
I can't believe I forgot to ask him what it was like Dublin in Game 7 of the 2016 World Series.
I'm sure you'll find a way to ask
Ben Zobrist, what was it like when you Dublin?
Hey, we can end the show.
We can end the show now?
Yeah, so you could stop doing that impersonation.
Okay, thanks. Ben Zobrist, so very excited to have him on throughout the season, like once a month.
That's like the biggest part of the news is that
champion forward.
It'll be more than just this one time. We're going to see him in April too.
Hopefully, no spray tomorrow.
I'm bringing in spray to because if they lose tomorrow, he's going to be pessimistic after one game.
We will be here 5 a.m. watching the game in the Discord, everywhere else. Until then, thanks for watching the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota. Thanks to Ben Zobrist. Thanks to you for watching. Until tomorrow after Game 1, don't forget to fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.